everyone, and welcome to another video. It's your girl, Scarlet, and I'm here to play the final card of the series, witnessed by Deepspace. I will be playing Caleb's card, Wayward Wonderland. Like I've mentioned already before in my previous videos, this isn't an initial reaction. I've actually already seen this card. So if that's not your cup of tea, feel free to just click away from the video. However, if you're still interested to see my thoughts into this card, then do stick around. Anyway, let's just jump right into it. Okay, alright, so synopsis time. Caleb and I return to the little garden where we once had childhood adventures, only to find it transformed into a massive spatial anomaly, and thus a new adventure began. Finally, I'm free from my overtime shift. Light pierces the gray sky that the spatial anomaly had enshrouded. Standing under the trees, I watch as the distorted space before me disappears. For unstable, strange anomalies, hunters must promptly investigate and eliminate their energy sources. That's why my workload has increased recently. I keep thinking that's my phone. Are you free to stop by the old house? Honestly, when I first read this, I was very surprised that Caleb did this. Why are you there? And when did you return to Lincoln? Why didn't you tell me? Let's meet up. I also need your help with something. The ruins of our old house were cleared away a while back. Why is Caleb there? I slow down as I approach the familiar street on my motorcycle. As I turn the final corner, a rooftop, familiar yet strange, catches my attention. Isn't that where our old house used to be? I park my motorcycle and hurry over. Shocked, I see the home for my memories is standing before me. Well, damn. Looks like Caleb's greeting us with some cake. Is this our housewarming celebration? We start with cake. The view. The scent of dry wood hangs in the air as I push open the gate of the front yard. I make my way inside and step over the stacks of wooden planks scattered across the ground. A tall figure is on a ladder by the window. Caleb is wearing white gloves and hammering a nail into the window frame. Call out to him. Oh, Caleb!
来てくれたのか。最近、お前たちハンター協会は一生の処理に追われてるってニュースで見たから、忙しくて時間がないかと思った。
He tilts his head and raises his chin in my direction.
ネジを取ってくれ。
I remember I first read this card and I was like, excuse me? Here? Now? Okay! I bend down to take a screw from the bag on the ground. I hand it to him, and the electric screwdriver whirs for a moment. Should we really be talking about that?
じゃあ、飯は食ったか？何を食べた？うまかったか？
What do you think? I raise my hand to smack him, but then I remember he's still on the ladder, so I hold it steady instead. Did you hire someone to rebuild this place? I look around. The basic structure of the old house has been completely rebuilt. Only some of the interior is still unfinished.
専門のチームに頼んだんだ。ほぼ元通りにできたぞ。
Nothing is sexier than seeing a man building a home for you with his bare hands, and I guess also hiring a team as well, but still. And you're only telling me about this now?
言ったところで、お前が一緒に建てられるわけじゃないだろ。
I would have actually.
だったら、形になってからの方がいいと思って。
So I'm here to be your cheerleader? I can do that. I deliberately raise my arms to do an exaggerated cheerleading pose. You're so cool! You're so smart! Go, Caleb! Go, go, Caleb! You cannot tell me that did not get Caleb's motor going. I'm just saying. It was probably very, inspired. Caleb takes off his gloves and taps my forehead.
家は専門家に頼めば建ててもらえるけど、内装は自分でやらないとな。
I would have very complicated feelings though seeing this house again, if I were MC. With sweat dripping from his face, he climbs down the ladder. I pick up a bottle of water from the ground, open it, and give it to him. I watch as he tilts his head back for a few sips. So, Caleb the master builder finally realized he needed an assistant for his renovations.
忙しいハンターさんに手伝ってもらうなら簡単すぎる任務じゃつまらないだろうからな。
He reaches past me to pick up a paper hat from the windowsill. I feel a slight weight on top of my head. Looking up, I can only see the brim of the hat.
だから特別にペンキ塗り職人の任務を残しておいたぞ。
So that is our mission, to paint the walls. He moves behind me and ties an apron around my waist.
それに2人でやるのにちょうどいい任務だからな。
My heart skips a beat as he leans down. We make eye contact as he glances up. I lower my gaze and mutter under my breath. I think you got too used to bossing me around when we were kids, so now you want to relive the good old days.
子供の頃どっちがどっちをこき使ってたっけな。ちゃんと思い出させてやろうか。
He gives me a knowing look and memories flash through my mind. I feel a twinge of guilt. I used to constantly pester him into helping me with all sorts of things. We have a lot of walls to paint. If we don't start soon, we'll run out of time.
もっとよく思い出してみろ。今回呼んだのは家の内装を細かいところまで一緒に思い出してもらうためでもあるからな。
I pick up the paint roller, coat it with latex paint. Latex? Latex. Latex? I'm so sorry. Latex? Latex. And start applying it evenly to the wall. This color is similar to the original one.
今はあんまり流行ってない色だから何軒も回ってようやく手に入れたんだ。
Oh. A question surfaces in my mind. After pondering for a bit, I glance at him. I purposefully act nonchalant. What about the furniture? You can't possibly find stuff that's exactly like the original.
家の中で撮った写真を何枚か見つけたからそれをもとに家具屋でオーダーメイドした。
That's the thing. He invited her there to help him remember what the place looked like. But then initially I thought, like, don't you have pictures for that? I'm sure you guys have a lot of photos. But then I realized, it must have all been lost in that explosion. But then I guess Caleb did take home an album or two when he went to Skyhaven, you know, just to reminisce and to remember her by. But yeah, the fact that basically their entire history in this house has been blown to smithereens, yeah, it just reminded me how much they've lost. I didn't expect you to be so dedicated. Caleb slightly turns his head. His gaze softens as it sweeps across my face.
こんなことしてほしくなかったか？
I didn't say that. I turn away and watch the roller change the wall's color. Unlike layers of paint, the questions in my mind are impossible to smooth out. Is he doing this just because he misses the past? That's some complicated feelings that MC has to sort of navigate through. The sunset's final rays fall on the floor by the window. They illuminate the tiny dust particles floating in the air. Caleb and I sit side by side against the wall. While the room is still empty, scenes from our life here seem to materialize. If Grandma could see this, she'd be happy, right? Caleb wraps his arm around my shoulders.
ああ、きっとな。
Aside from the tenderness in his eyes, a trace of melancholy briefly appears. Not wanting things to get too somber, I fidget with the paper hat in my hands. I fold its pointed tip inwards. Your paper hat is a little boat now.
まだ折り紙が好きなのか？
Caleb takes the little boat. He skillfully unfolds and refolds it. The paper in Caleb's hands quickly transforms into a new object.
手を出してくれ。
A paper crane lands in my palm. I gently touch its wings with my finger. I don't know if this is actually exposing my age. But I used to do a lot of origami when I was a kid. And the path to making a crane and the path to making either a boat or a hat is very simple. Like you can actually start off making the boat until you make, and then from there make a few changes to start making the crane. If I'm not remembering it wrong, that is. When I was little, I think I used to pester you about folding 1,000 paper cranes for me. Realizing I've unintentionally brought up the past, I quickly shift to a more lighthearted one. The ones from before don't count. I'll keep this one safe. But you still owe me 999 paper cranes.
ただで食える飯はないぞ。
Who said anything about that? Don't you think your accommodation tonight should come with a fee? 999 paper cranes in exchange for a soft, comfortable sofa is the deal of a lifetime. Caleb laughs as he tussles my hair.
強引な理屈だな。でもまあ、交渉成立だ。
Okay, so this is where I'm confused. Why is he sleeping on the sofa? Why? It's pretty clear the lines they've crossed during the birthday card for Caleb. Is it because they haven't made it official? I don't know. I was very confused. I thought maybe this card took place before that, but then once you see the Kindled, you're like, no way, this is definitely after. This was a detail I was very confused on. Plus, look at all that space. Despite my day being hectic with work, I'm unable to sleep in my bed. Maybe because Caleb's not there! As I toss and turn, that question keeps swirling in my mind. Even if I asked him, he probably wouldn't tell me the truth. Sounds from the living room make me open my eyes. Caleb? An inexplicable unease washes over me. I sit up in bed before I quietly walk out of the bedroom. Faint moonlight outlines Caleb's sleeping figure. It causes the sounds he's making to be more distinct. Caleb's arms is draped across his forehead. The blanket is only up to his chest while sweat glistens on his neck. Aw. Is he having a nightmare? I gently shake Caleb's shoulder. Caleb, wake up. It looks like he heard me. He lowers his arms and furrows his brow. Give him a nice pat, pat. Pat, pat, pat. I touch Caleb's forehead. He opens his eyes and his gaze slowly focuses on what's around him. Oh. Did you have a bad dream? He averts his gaze, yet he holds my hand that's resting on his forehead.
ごちゃごちゃした夢だった気がするけど、もうよく覚えてない。
Lies.
戻って寝ろ。
He releases his hand and pats the back of it twice as if to reassure me. As expected, he avoids answering my question. I sit down on the carpet beside the sofa.
どうしたんだ？
I'll stay until you fall asleep.
俺は子供か。
Yes. It's nice to be a kid every now and then. You'd always sneak me out to go on little adventures after I had nightmares. We'd play in the garden. Caleb looks taken aback for a moment. It's as if he didn't expect me to talk about the memories from when we first met.
なんで急にそんな話するんだ？
Probably because it was the time when I most frequently had nightmares. I rest my head next to his. Under the hazy moonlight, we stare at each other. Do you still remember that place? He turns onto his side and uses his arm to cushion his head.
忘れるわけない。俺だってあそこは好きだったんだ。
That was a small garden behind the shelter. It only had a few playgrounds worn down by the elements. During the Chrono Shift catastrophe, that place became even more derelict because of rampaging wanderers. But for children, broken slides, seesaws, and swings were more appealing than a shelter filled with crying and fear. And here I thought you were comforting me because of my nightmares. In reality, you were just using me as an excuse for your adventures.
まあな。お前っていう口実はうってつけだったから。
He tussles my hair.
避難所に閉じこもってるのは嫌だったけど、一人で滑り台に行くのもさすがに子供じみてると思ってさ。
So you made me the immature one.
俺の役目はお前の子供の部分を守ることだったんだ。
Then will you let me protect you after you have nightmares? Caleb is stunned, but he quickly regains his light-hearted smile.
俺が そんな子供に見えるか?
Yes. Yep. I poke his face. An actual mature person wouldn't refuse to admit they had nightmares. He lowers his gaze. He's looking at my finger that's touching his skin.
認めたら冒険に連れて行ってくれるのか?
Take you on one right now. Smiling, I grab his hand. I know the perfect place for one. So yeah, after reading the card, I did assume maybe even after their relationship has sort of progressed, maybe he refuses sleeping on the same bed with her due to his nightmares. I don't know. I'd like to think there's a reason behind it. I'd like to think there's probably something else. But yeah. The next day, Caleb and I travel across most of the city to reach an area that's become unfamiliar to us. The shelter from the Chrono Rift catastrophe has long since vanished in the city's reconstruction. The roads, nearly devoid of people, become narrower as we walk. Did it get demolished already? I mutter under my breath.
あの公園が残ってるかどうかは別として、この道の雰囲気はちょっと冒険っぽい。もしワンダラーでも出てきたら、悪夢なんて吹っ飛ぶな。
I know he's trying to comfort me with jokes, but I'm hoping that the place with our shared memories still exists. If fighting wanderers works, you're welcome to become a hunter. I can guarantee you only have sweet dreams.
なんか聞き覚えのあるセリフだな。
What? Becoming a hunter?
その後だ。
Several words suddenly resurface in my mind.
あれは確か。
I remember now. You were the one who said it. Tian, I promise to take you to a real paradise someday. It'll be a place with only sweet dreams. I move my head dramatically while mimicking teenage Caleb's voice. A hint of embarrassment gradually appears on his face.
お前、録音でもしてたのか? なんでまだ一字一句はっきり覚えてるんだ?
What's funny is in the event story, he ended up like playing recorded messages of him journaling what happened between the two of them. It was our first promise. Of course I'd remember. Caleb pauses. Joy briefly shines in his eyes.
最初か.
What? His warm hand grabs mine as he leads me forward.
急ごう。もしかしたらまだ残ってるかもしれない。
Resolve, we walk faster toward the end of the alley. The alley emits a faint pinkish purple glow. As I step into that light, the ground beneath my feet suddenly vanishes. What awaited me wasn't the fall I had expected. I'm greeted by a weightless sensation. Throughout this dreamlike floating amusement park, colorful rides interweave with wispy clouds. Oh, this is so beautiful. Enormous planets hang in the pinkish purple sky. They're seemingly within reach. I float with Caleb's line of sight. The light and I are embraced by his gaze. When did this place become a spatial anomaly?
少なくとも楽園にはなったな。俺たちが子供の頃に思い描いた場所にも似てるし。
In this weightless space, Caleb floats towards me with effortless grace. It's unlike my unsteady wobbling.
注意してください。この空間の波動指数は不安定です。
It's unstable.
エネルギー源を探し、速やかに除去してください。
We must find the source. This place is huge, and we're just floating around. Who knows how long it'll take for us to find it?
俺たちに冒険の時間をくれたってことじゃないか? ふらふら漂うのが嫌なら手を離すなよ。
Don't gotta tell me twice. Watch me grab onto this man with every limb I have on me. He takes my hand and I instantly feel that familiar gravity. I think I can walk on thin air. Holding Caleb's hand, I take a few steps and then I find myself jumping for joy. Caleb, I feel like this place was made for your evil.
俺はここは俺たちの約束のためにあるんだと思う。
He leads me through the air as brilliant, colorful amusement park rides float around us. Each one seems to be capable of bringing endless delight.
ここは確かに いい夢だけが残った場所みたいだな。何か乗ってみるか？
I look around, but my mind inappropriately leads to that amusement park in Skyhaven. It's not inappropriate. What do you mean, MC? You've done more than that. My heart aches with an inexplicable pain. The memory suddenly rewinds to the moment when his lips brushed against my ear. That burning sensation returns. I lower my gaze and point to the least conspicuous attraction among all the rides, the merry-go-round. I want to ride that one.
いきなり趣味が変わったのか？もっとスリルあるやつばっかり選んでたのに。
I feel like that changes as you get older. The reality of your mortality just hits harder. I know for a fact that when I was younger, when I was a kid, like all the thrilling rides, I definitely wanted to go. I used to be a fan of roller coasters, fast rides and all that. But then as I got older, suddenly these rides make me nervous. You know, I get scared now. It's so weird. That's why I want to go on the ride we didn't get to. Caleb is stunned for a moment. A thin veil of darkness appears in his eyes.
天行のあの遊園地を思い出さないようにってことか。
No, that's not it. It's not. Caleb carefully tightens his grip on my hand and walks towards the merry-go-round. A gentle, ethereal melody drips through the air as the lights on the merry-go-round turn on one by one. I sit on a white carousel horse while Caleb takes the black one next to me. Do you remember the first time we went to that little garden? There was only a broken toy horse lying on the ground.
がっかりした顔で、俺になんでメリーゴーランドじゃないのって聞いてきたよな。
Then you used your evil to make the toy horse float. You let me sit on it before you spun it around.
けど、あの時は一周が限界で。木馬が傾いて、お前も一緒に落ちちまった。
The horses rise and fall in a steady rhythm, and our gazes meet at shifting heights. As my white horse slowly rises, I look at him. Caleb, I wanted to ride this because when I think back to those days, everything seemed more pure.
お前の言う純粋ってどんな意味だ？できることなら、俺もあの頃に戻りたい。避難所で出会った二人の子供が寄り添って成長していく。定義された関係なんてない。
His black horse rises and our positions are reversed. As he looks at me, a somber fire burns in his gaze.
それが俺の思う純粋だ。
As the carousel spins, the colorful horses blur into swirling, indistinct shapes. In the center of my gaze, only his face remains in focus. But you also miss those days when we were with Grandma, didn't you? Why else would you rebuild our home and try to make everything look the same as it did back then? The music ends and the merry-go-round stops spinning. The black and white horse returns to their original positions. We make eye contact.
あの家が爆破される夢を何度も見るからだ。
The calmer his voice is, the clearer the unconscious sounds he made during his nightmare are in my mind.
家を元通りにすれば、その夢も見なくなるんじゃないかと思った。
My heart cries out in pain, as if an invisible hand is squeezing it. I jump down from the horse and step forward to embrace Caleb. Oh, I'm getting emotional again, damn. You could have told me sooner. Caleb freezes, then he slowly wraps his arms around my back, and they tighten around me.
確かに、過去は懐かしい。けど、過去の中にだけいたくはない。
No, the way he whispered this, damn! Shit. Goosebumps. In his embrace, I look at him. It won't be just the past. Didn't we go on an adventure?
ああ。ここでの冒険はいい夢になりそうだ。
My hunter's watch suddenly sounds an alarm. The energy source has appeared. Caleb points at something nearby.
あれか？
I look in that direction he's pointing in and see a tiny paper crane. Its colors are illuminated by light as it glides diagonally above the clouds. In this weightless space, it seems carefree as it flies freely. I'm surprised the paper crane is the energy source for a massive place.
追った人の願いとエネルギーが詰まってるのかもしれないな。
Would that be you? Caleb says this somewhat thoughtfully. Then he immediately lowers his head and talks with his usual tone.
俺だって1羽の折り鶴で一晩の宿を手に入れたしな。
You promised me 1,000 cranes. Don't try to get yourself out of that. He laughs, grabs my hand, and pulls me toward the clouds.
じゃあ早く任務を終わらせて家に帰って鶴を折らないとな。
And then... If a wonderland where sweet dreams become a reality really exists, then our tightly clasped hands as we run and smile on Caleb's face will appear in my dreams time and time again. Oh, MC. At the cloudy edge of the amusement park, we catch up to the paper crane. I reach out and it lands in my palm. Once I remove its energy, this place will disappear.
名残惜しいか？
Does anyone want a wonderland to exist for a short period of time? Especially one that only offers sweet dreams?
でも子供の頃のあのボロボロの古い公園だって俺たちにとって悪夢の場所じゃなかっただろ？
I pause and turn to look at him. His gaze is bathed in a soft light.
いい夢か悪夢かはその夢に誰が出てくるかで決まるんだ。これからの夢にいつもお前がいるならここが消えたって構わない。
It feels like soft, fluffy clouds have wrapped themselves around my heart. An expanse of tenderness protects it as it races with joy. Because of our resonance, the energy within the paper crane transforms into countless shimmering particles that slowly flow through our bodies. As they disperse, the clothes that Caleb and I are wearing unexpectedly transform into elegant, formal wear. Is this what it feels like to be in a fairy tale? Oh, the way he's cradling her hand. Caleb smiles and pulls me down to lie beside him. The clouds part as our bodies sink, and they quickly envelop us again.
じゃあもう少しこの童話の中にいよう。
I raise my hand, my fingertips touching the soft wispy clouds. The delicate strands dissolve into nothingness. This magical place is slowly fading away. I decided to say the words that have been swirling in my heart for so long. Caleb, an old little garden can transform into a breathtaking wonderland one day. And even when you rebuild an old house and make it look exactly like it did back then, you'll realize everything inside is new. He raises his hand and slowly intertwines his fingers with mine.
人と人の関係も新しくなれるだろ？
Only if that's what you want.
俺は望んでる。
The fading clouds pass through our joined hands as midsummer's radiant glow sets the sky aflame. That line just now, I liked how he said it in simplified Chinese. It was really like, it was heartbreaking in a way. And the person beside me shines as bright as summer's morning sun. They really... The art direction here, though, is really pretty. And look at him. Everything we've... Ah, damn it! I was...
ならもっと忘れられない夢にしないと。
I was distracted by his face! Everything we've experienced today will appear in my dreams. Let's release the paper crane we folded and let it drift into deep space.
たった1話だけじゃちょっと寂しいな。昔はいつも1000羽折ってって言ってたよな。今はどうだ？ こいつらは真空にも俺の夢の中にも残り続けるだろうな。
I do hope they replace his nightmares. Oh, look at this. They look so good together. They look so happy. Oh, oh, I can't. I think
Oh my
nuzzling
God,
is my weakness. Aside from paper cranes, is there anything else you want?
ある。俺はお前の心に今までと違う存在としてありたい。新しい存在としてお前と一緒に未来の冒険へ出たいんだ。いいか？
The way he was like looking down, hesitating whether he can say this. Gosh. My heart. That's the future I hope we'll have, Caleb. Wow.
俺と一緒にもっと冒険しないか？
Yes, indeed. I do. This was very house moving castle for me, but it was such an iconic scene. At first I thought they were doing this because of his evil, but they're so cute.
夢でしか見れなかった冒険は今日実現した。
No, the way he twirls her. So cute.
捕まってろ。列車がここから連れ出してくれる。
You know, sometimes when you look at Caleb, his eyes almost seem dark, but right now it's like he's sparkling. I can't help but keep smiling when I see him. Once we leave this place, we'll fulfill our vows with each other.
もう始まってるんじゃないか？今は未来なんだから。
Oh, so sweet. No. 恭喜恭喜. I hope they end up happy, please. I just want them to be happy. Although I am questioning where this train is going. After the dreamlike amusement park disappears, the true appearance of the area is revealed. Coincidentally, the small garden had been used to build a real children's playground. This is the same place in his new free 5-star card, right? On this afternoon with clear skies, sunlight bathes the small yard. Wearing a wide-brimmed straw hat, I crouch down while holding a young sapling. Caleb's shadow falls over me as he holds a shovel. He puts soil into the small hole he dug for the sapling.
よし、手を離してみてくれ。
I slowly release the sapling, and it doesn't fall. Under the sunlight, its tender green leaves seem to glow. I heard saplings grow incredibly fast. It might be taller when you visit again. Caleb hands me a watering can before picking one up himself. He crouches down beside me to water the little sapling. It's a shame the tall pagoda tree is gone. We used to measure our heights against it.
お前が身長を一番気にしてた頃、毎週あの木の下に立って俺にナイフで印をつけさせたよな。
Caleb sets down the watering can and presses his fist against his lips.
実はここだけの話。お前が背が伸びたと思った何回かは俺が嘘をついてたんだ。
Cruel. This is so cruel. Huh?
お前には見えてないからちょっと高めに印を彫っても気づかれないだろ。
Really, Caleb? At this point, you've been messing with me my whole life.
でも結局ちゃんと伸びたんだし結果オーライだ。
Well, he's not wrong, but still. I toss aside the empty watering can and try to tickle Caleb, but he quickly catches my arm. Caleb sits on the ground in the small garden. One hand is propped against the earth, while his other arm is wrapped loosely around me. He tilts his head back to gaze at the sky.
お前の言う通り、縁樹の木がなくなって残念だよ。証人がいなくなっちまった。
My hand pauses before resting on Caleb's shoulder. Don't be sad just yet. This little sapling will grow too. It'll witness many things.
そうだといいな。
Caleb raises his hand and plays with the necklace I gave him.
じゃあ俺もお前と一緒にこいつが大きくなるのを待とう。
Okay, so luckily, since that was the second time I've read the story, I did manage to type out a few of my thoughts at first, and then after the second read through, I was able to add on to that. So I guess this is it's always good to be reading stories more than once. First off, the fact that he ended up rebuilding their old home because of the nightmares he kept having. Whew, wow, gosh, it just stabbed me in the heart, why don't you? That was really painful to watch because, well, it's already been shown how one of Caleb's biggest fears is how he believes he's not capable enough to protect MC. We see here that he dreams about their home exploding and how his powers were only strong enough to contain it to protect her, but nearly almost offing himself. So that's what we saw in the main story. And we know that this was a huge wake-up call for Caleb. It's something that's affected him even now. He realizes he is not strong enough to even keep himself safe to ensure he would be around to keep MC safe. So I can see why rebuilding their home would be something he ends up doing as a way to maybe reassure that he still holds some power or control, that he could at least rebuild what they've lost. Yet, funnily enough, this actually causes MC to worry that maybe Caleb regrets them, quote-unquote, crossing the line in their, what was that card again? His birthday card? Night of No Return, right, that card. And I guess she's also worried that maybe he wants to go back to how things were. I did mention how I thought it was weird that Caleb slept on the sofa, but then I realized it was MC who first mentioned it. And I wouldn't have realized that if I only read the story once. Now, I believe Caleb being the cautious one and always highly aware and attentive of MC's comfort and safety, he just didn't question it or refute it. And I guess to him, this was a sign that she needed some space, and that probably worried him a bit. It made sense why Caleb came to the conclusion that MC didn't want to think about the time they almost kissed in his standard myth. So it ended up being like a bowl of misunderstanding and worries, but it was cleared up in the end in a very nice way, which I really liked. Let's go back to Caleb having nightmares. We can see that he is still reluctant to show his weakness to MC. Although I do believe that this isn't something Caleb will overcome anytime soon. Like, this isn't a problem that he can solve like overnight. In the end though, it was amazing to hear him tell her honestly about the dream he had, which shows that Caleb is trying, and I really appreciate that kind of character growth that we're seeing in the cards. Now, to talk about the main point of the story, I need to talk about the Chinese name of this card. And a little bit of a warning here. For those of you that are not comfortable with the, I guess, the original source trope, then you can just skip this. Because it's going to be hard to deny that that is what the story is trying to tell, even though we look at the English translation. But to better understand the meaning behind it, I really need to dive into the Chinese version. So yeah, if you're not a fan of that, feel free to skip ahead, and I'm always happy to see you guys in the next video. But if you're here to stick around, the Chinese name of this card is Wenbo. In direct translation, I guess, for each word, Weng, like Weng Yun, forever, Mo is nothing, and Do is island. Now, if you put those words together, it will be like the island of forever nothing. It's really bad, rough translation. But it does remind me heavily of Neverland from the story of Peter Pan, which is a fantastical wonderland where children stay to maintain their childlike dreams and innocence. relevance. And it's maybe it's a bit of a reach, but I do see this being relevant since the story explores how both of them reminisce about their times at the orphanage, a time where both MC and Caleb admit that if they could go back to that time, they would, which is a time when everything was more simple with no complicated connections, a wonderland. In fact, the English version, so this is where the English and Chinese version sort of comes into play. So the English version, Caleb said, I have the screenshot here so I could say it word from word, without being so close to each other. However, in Chinese, it says, and I do have where is the screen cap? Oh, here. 沒有後來被定義的關係. So, direct translation would be 沒有後來. Without their relationship being defined later, or later defined. Meaning that them growing up without the defined familial roles that was put on them when grandma adopted them. That's the time they want to go back to. But it does seem, as we progress the story further, that even though that's what they felt, they cannot deny that their adoption situation was what enabled them to stay together in the first place. So it seems like they've accepted this, acknowledged it, but they don't want to stay in the past. They don't want to stay in that situation. Like how in the story of Peter Pan, the children have to eventually leave Neverland to face the growing pains of adulthood. MC and Caleb want more, and they want it together. They're willing to face the growing pains, the consequences that the two of them would have to face together. And as beautiful as this wonderland was, and as sweet as the dreams this place would give them, they want to move forward, to leave this Neverland, which made the Kindled scene beautifully symbolic, if you ask me. The promise made from the 1,000 cranes that would grant wishes, and the ring it created from a wish born from the both of them. This was their promise to venture forward together, being more than what they were. The train taking them away from this Neverland to the next stop of their life together. I also found it very reassuring when Caleb talked about how it depends on the people who appear in the dream that determines whether it's a good dream or a nightmare. It's like saying, even in the situation they are in, you know, with all the turmoil, destruction, and possible doomed ending, like this can still be a sweet dream because in the end, they have each other. So in the Kindle scene, when Caleb asked if they wanted to embark on something more adventurous, MC proudly replies with, "You know my answer, 明知故問." Feels like that final push for them to walk forward towards their future together more confidently, and it was really nice to see. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the cards so far. Honestly, in terms of the progression of their relationship, this was like the milestone that they had to reach in order to like move forward more confidently. This is something that the two of them needed to clarify, because despite their tender moments together, you know, all the hushed moments, the secret touches, the kisses, and the nights spent together, they are still worried that the other person is regretting it. So this card was that card that solidified how they felt about each other, and they were clear about what they wanted from each other as well. It was a really good card in terms of like relationship progression. Still found the whole dress and tuxedo thing weird. I mean, I get it in a form of making a promise. They wanted it to be wedding looking. I look, the whole theme of the card is there, but personally I feel like they just stuck in the imagery of a wedding in order for it to look more romantic. Maybe if I try to link the chapter events together with the card stories, the memorias, then maybe, because, you know, MC was like making an event where people can profess their vows towards each other, it could be that, but it still felt a little disconnected to me. I felt like the wedding outfits were a little bit forced. But that's just my opinion, of course. I still love the cards. Is it something that I would recommend for Caleb girlies to get? Absolutely. Honestly, this entire series, I would recommend every single card to be, you know, obtained if possible. I think in terms of story, I like Zane's the most. I cannot say which one I like the least because that's not useful information, but I can tell you that I like Zane's the most. What about you guys? Which card did you like the most? Let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, again, I'm really sorry for the late upload. In fact, I think I have family coming over that I might not be able to edit this video anytime soon. Oh crap. I'm not sure when you'll get this video, but anyway, I can't wait for the next series from Love and Deepspace. If you enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye bye.